Welcome back for another reaction video. I am going to stick with the Australian theme for a little bit. The next one I'm going to do is called How to Understand Australians. It's a video on Australian slang words and expressions. I mean, you can talk funny, all right? But I probably talk funny to you, so whatever. But make sure you check out the video that I'm reacting to. I'm going to leave a link in the description below and support that creator as well. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe on this one. So I appreciate the help that you give my channel. And let's get to it.
Australia, the world's largest island, the smallest continent, a big rock, and a very pretty harbour. You should definitely visit if you have the chance. You absolutely should. I'm Emma from English, and I'm also Australian. Here on YouTube, you are always asking me about where I'm from, so I guess I don't say it enough. But here in Australia, we speak English with a distinctly Australian accent, which has some unique features, some that are similar to British English and others that are more closely aligned with American English pronunciation. But for most people who come to visit, whether they're an English speaker or not, they're confused or they're dumbfounded, surprised by our slang vocabulary. So in this video, I'm going to share 40 slang expressions that you need to know if you plan to move here, to visit here, to study here, or even if you're just hanging out with some Australians in some other part of the world. This lesson will help to reveal that mysterious, secret slang language that Australians use to communicate.
Right, let's get to it.
A little history lesson first. Australia is a British colony, so our grammar rules and our spelling rules are the same as British English. And that means they're a little different from American English. Our sense of humour is also quite similar to Brits. Even some of our slang words are the same. That sense of humour is dry, it's sarcastic. It can sometimes take a little bit of getting used to, especially because with sarcasm, it often involves saying one thing, but the tone and the body language is completely opposite, you know, like a joke that's said with a completely straight face. So it's really hard to know if they're actually joking or not. We are generally pretty easygoing people. You know, we definitely don't take ourselves too seriously. In fact, we're usually laughing at ourselves, making fun of our mates, joking around. So in Australia, if an Australian is making fun of you, quite often it means that they actually like you. It's a weird way of showing affection. The best thing that you can do is make an Australian laugh. You will be mates for life. Now, a mate is a friend, right? This is one of the most important words to an Australian. It's usually an affectionate word, you know, meaning friend. But mate can also be your partner, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter, your friend, your colleague. And a mate can also be a total stranger. Anyone can be called mate, right? Mate, how are you?
Yeah, let me say it. We don't use that word here to mean the same thing. You know, it's just out here, it's like, you know, friend, buddy, whatever. But if you say like the word mate, you're like thinking, you know, sexual. It's implied here in the United States. So if you say in my mate, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, you know, you just assume you're sleeping with that person. You know, it's because you're mating, right? So that's the difference right there.
Cool. I will catch you later, mate. It's super friendly, but with a shift in tone, it can also be used to confront someone about a problem. Listen, mate, we need to talk about this. Mate, calm down. I'm not trying to start an argument. In fact, the Australian police usually walk up to any situation and start with, hey mate, like friend, relax, I'm here to help. Now, I know this concept of mate and mate can be really confusing, right? But try to use facial expression and tone as a guide. You know, is it friendly? Is it serious? If you're doing the wrong thing and someone walks up to you and says, mate, what do you think you're doing? You know they're pissed off, right? And that's Australian for annoyed. Now, a lot of slang words in Australia follow a really similar pattern. You take the original word and you shorten it, and then you add either E, R, or O at the end.
That's kind of weird.
Now, this is really, really common. These words are really commonly used all the way across Australia, across all levels of society. You'll hear the Prime Minister using these words along with a truck driver that's driving across the Nullarbor, which is the big dirt patch in the middle of Australia. Now, there are literally hundreds of funny words like this, and that can be really intimidating to try and learn. But the ones that I'm including in this video are ones that I use regularly myself, ones that I hear people use, my friends, my colleagues, my family, they use them all the time, or ones that regularly come up in the media. Because these ones are all relevant current slang words to learn, right? And if you look up Australian slang on a whole bunch of websites, it might be quite funny to read all of these random words, but actually not a lot of them really get used anymore. You know, they're sort of from a few decades ago. In Australia, we are big fans of footy. But not this type of footy, that's soccer. This is Australian football.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that one coming because, I mean, footy, like in America, you're like talking about footies, like little, little shoes for babies, right? Stuff like that. So I don't, that's a weird way to call this. I was expecting to see the first thing. It'd be like you guys using R's where they don't belong, like on the end of no, right? Nor, right? Because I was watching. I do watch some Australian channels like Nalopia Amber. She is always saying nor instead of no. It's like, what the hell? I fully expected that to be one of the first things to come up, but you guys are talking about baby shoes over here. Oh man.
Footy. Now, I want you to really pay attention to that flap T sound. It sounds more like a D, right? Footy, footy. If you're moving to Melbourne in particular, one of the first things that you'll need to do is pick a footy team, okay? This question will get asked of you, probably often, so get amongst it. Go to a couple of games, even if it's just to say that you did. It's a really good place to start to understand Australian culture. Barbie is a barbecue. Snags, sausages.
Okay. The only Barbie I know is the one that little girls play with. And there was a recent movie, I guess. And snags or sausages. We just call them sausages. I mean, really, there's really no other word for it here. I think snag would mean out here. It means like to get something. Like I just snagged a bag of chips, right? But yeah, it's definitely not sausages. I didn't see that one coming.
Arvo, afternoon. We're gonna throw some snags on the Barbie on Saturday Arvo. Come round. And that really just means we're gonna cook some sausages on the barbecue on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, what? Repeat, this time in English.
Come over. Avo, avocado. Brekkie, breakfast. Avo on toast is a very common breakfast meal at cafes in Australia. It seemed to be the reason why young Australians can't actually save enough money to buy a house, because they keep spending all their money on going out for breakfast and having avo on toast. So avo is a very common thing to eat for breakfast. It's definitely also common at brunch. Now, brunch is a meal between breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, we use the word brunch too. It's just, it's typically a word that stuck up people here in the United States use. Like they're like snobs, like more, they were born with a silver spoon. So I mean, we just say if it's close to lunchtime, we just say lunch. If it's close to breakfast time, we say breakfast. Um, if we want to be a little snooty, we'll we'll go ahead and use the word brunch, but it's more of like a, tongue in cheek sort of, hey, look at me, I'm a snob sort of thing. But it's interesting that you guys probably use it. Do you use it? Is she just not speaking for everyone? Do you use it on a daily basis? And brekkie, that's kind of weird. But I can expect it. But just getting rid of the entire word avocado, I didn't see that coming. Um, like I would not know what she's saying. Like if you're saying that to me, I'd just be like, what? What's that? So,
Breakfast and lunch. Common in Australia, but in other English-speaking countries too. Now, it's not in addition to those meals, it usually replaces one or the other. Usually on weekends when lots of people have a sleep in, maybe they wake up later. So on Saturday and Sunday in Australia, you will definitely see a lot of people out for brunch on the weekend. All right, let's talk about some places now. So McDonald's is called Macca's.
what?
Now, if anyone asks you to do a Macca's run, it means go out and pick up McDonald's and bring it back for everyone.
I mean, we might say like Mickey D's or something like that, but I never heard of Macca's or whatever she just said. I just never heard of it.
Or you might say, oh, I'm just waiting on the corner near Macca's. Now, uni is university.
Okay, I can
Uni.
expect that. I can see that.
What did you study at uni? How's uni going? This is incredibly common. If you're planning to study in Australia, really the only time that you're going to hear the word university is in formal contexts. Everyone else is going to talk about uni. So that's university. The servo is a service station or a petrol station.
Huh.
Now in America,
Oh, before she even finishes that sentence, I mean a servo. That's like some sort of thing you use in like mechanical engineering or something, right? It's like a servo. I've heard about it on like Star Trek: The Next Generation, where they were working on some stuff. As far as a gas station, that's what we call it, a gas station. If it's like there's like certain kinds of gas station, like Quick Stop, stuff like that, and they might just use the name of the gas station because we have gas stations everywhere. So you can go up a block and bam, you're at another gas station. So we might want to be specific to which gas station. Like for instance, if we're gonna walk from where I live, there's a Circle K, and there's a Casey's within walking distance reasonably. And then further down, there's a couple more gas stations, pretty much kitty corner. So, but I've never heard it called a servo before.
the fuel that goes in your car is called gas, but you won't hear people in Australia calling it gas, we call it petrol. So this place is a petrol station or a service station, a place to service your car. Hence the servo. I need to stop at the servo on the way means I need to stop and get some petrol. The bottle-o. The bottle-o. The bottle-o is a bottle shop or a liquor store, a shop that sells alcohol. In Australia, places where you can buy alcohol are strictly regulated. So you can't buy alcohol at a 7-Eleven like you can in some countries. You have to go to the bottle shop, the bottle-o. Hey,
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard it called that ever, so it's another one. I mean, I'm completely new to most of this. All right, I expected uni, but bottle-o. I mean, we do call it liquor store, but we have certain liquor stores. Like you might get liquor at the grocery store, but you might also get it at specifically a liquor store or a corner store or a quick stop, something like that. And there are a couple liquor stores in town. I think 2 or 3 at least that I know of. There's probably more. No, there's definitely more. I wasn't thinking about them all, but we never call it anything like that. It's just straight to the point.
stop at the bottle-o on the way. Let me know if you need me to pick something up. Now, while we're on the subject, Australians love a drink. And one of the best places to sit and to observe Australian life is in a pub, at the beach or at the pub. It's a really social space and a great space to strike up a conversation with someone and to have a chat. But I wanted to share a few more words that you might need. So a slab is a carton of beer, usually a 24 pack of beer, right, in a box. A tinny is a can of beer. A stubby is a bottle of beer, and a stubby cooler, one of these hideous things, is used to keep your stubby or your tinny cold during the long hot.
Okay, there's some funny words here. Okay, first off, a slab. When I think of a slab, I'm thinking a slab of meat. You know, we're gonna have a barbecue, like you know, smoke out some barbecue for a few days or something. Um, I think I've heard tinny before. I didn't know what they were talking about, but we just call it, you know, beer can. But like, I don't know anybody that drinks canned beer. That's disgusting. It's like it's got a different taste when it comes out of a can versus a bottle, like a glass bottle. It's just totally different. Maybe it just hits your tongue different, but it tastes like absolute trash, maybe shit. Um, but that's disgusting, right? Stubby. Okay, I'm thinking, you know, peg leg Joe. You know, somebody that lost. He's stubby, right? He's missing a leg or something. You know, I don't know. Stubby cooler is just a koozie for us or whatever. I mean, I don't know anybody says that because it's kind of weird. Um, so yeah, there's that.
Australian summers. These are tourist souvenirs that you can get in any servo, anywhere around Australia, and you can collect all of the ugliest ones that you can find and keep them as souvenirs of your time in Australia. This one's from the Nanotara Roadhouse. It's got a goanna, a road train, and an eagle. Every Australian has at least 20 of them stuffed in random places around their house, and generally, the gaudier, the uglier, the better. And an esky is what you need to take to the park to keep your drinks and your food cool in. So it's like an insulated box where you put ice and keep your drinks cool. That's an esky. Lotto is the lottery.
Same here.
The most I've ever won on a lotto ticket is about $50. And bucks is slang for dollars.
Same here.
If I catch an Uber home from the city, it usually costs me about $30. Ripper is a good expression when something's going well or it's good. Like, ripper. You could say, you little ripper. When
I don't know, if somebody says I got a ripper, you think maybe they just farted, right? I just ripped a hole in these pants, right? I just ripped up your couch. Like, get your ass to the bathroom, you little shit. Right?
Something's really good, you've got great news. Or you could say, bloody ripper, when something's really great. Like when you win the lotto. Bloody ripper, what a great day.
Hey, you got a bloody ripper here. You better go see a doctor and get the hell off my couch.
Australia, many suburbs and place names are also shortened too. So Brizzy is Brisbane. Tassie is Tasmania. Sandy is Sandringham. Freo is Fremantle. Roto is Rottnest Island in WA. The Goldie is the Gold Coast in Queensland. The G is the MCG, famous sports ground in Melbourne. And if there are any Australians watching and you can think of others, please let me know in the comments. Hit me up. There are so many of these. The list is way too long to continue with here. But the point is that if you hear a word that you don't recognize, it's totally okay to ask. You know, Australians know that not everyone understands our slang way of, you know, referring to things, especially place names. So if you're not sure, just ask. Right. Another really important place is the loo, the toilet.
I've heard that.
So the dunny used to be a very Australian expression, but it's rarely used now. Lots of random Australian slang websites include.
I mean, we just say toilet. I think I saw someone that was British saying that they used the word toilet out there, and then somebody in America would be like, "Oh, that's disgusting." No, I mean to snooty people, to snobs, might be disgusting. To regular everyday people, it's the toilet. Where's the toilet? You know, got to take a dump on the toilet, right? The TMI, but it's the toilet. I might say turlet just to be a cheeky bastard, right? That's one of your words too, isn't it?
It because it's funny, but don't bother learning it and actually using it. Nobody does it. So people who are involved in construction work are often called tradespeople. They're the skilled people who also come to your house to fix things when they break. Now, in Australia, of course, we have shortened the names for all of these people, starting with tradie. Now, tradie is a tradesman. It's a really general word for everyone who works in that type of industry. But specifically, a brickie is a bricklayer, a sparky is an electrician, a chippy is a carpenter, and this kind of continues into all other types of work as well. A truckie is a truck driver, a polly is a politician, and you'll often hear this used in Australian media when talking about politicians.
You know what? We call politicians criminals. And everything else, I mean, it's pretty much just the equal word, right? We call it the actual trade that it is, except for maybe as like masonry, but pretty much all the other words, we'll just refer to them as what what they are. So there's that.
Sickie is a sick day, but
sounds
not
like a person
real
that's sick.
Day. I don't know if this happens much in your country, but a sickie is when you take a day off work, but you're not actually sick. Maybe it's because the weather's really nice and you want to go fishing with your mates. This is called chucking a sickie.
I think we have like implied words, like if you hear sickie, you're like, oh, that guy's a sickie. Like he's always sick. Like that's what we would think we'd imply. That's what it means. Like people say random words all the time, like somebody might just come up with a word like stomple, and they mean, stomp and stumble or something, some shit like that. But like we just imply words, so we don't know. Like I would not know that meant sick day. I think it was somebody that was sick, and I'd want to, probably keep away from them. So I don't get sick too. Like, I don't need a cold or whatever. So that's
pulling a sickie. What else is there? Info is information. Intro is introduction. And I think those two are pretty commonly used across lots of different English-speaking countries. But in Australia, we definitely love it because we love those shortened versions. A mo is a moustache. A roo is a kangaroo.
I saw that.
Mozzie is a mosquito. I hate those guys. For some reason, they always come after me, so I am always taking Mozzie spray with me everywhere I go in summer. This insect...
We just call them mosquitoes, or if you're down south, with some country, with somebody from the country, they'll call them skeeters, right? So in Kentucky or something, you guys skeeter, or I don't know. But Roo, I expected that, obviously, but a Mo is a mustache. The only Mo I know about is, Larry Curly and Mo. And then, of course, from gang stuff, Mo is a certain type of gang member. So
repellent is called Mozzie spray in Australia. Anyway, that is a solid list of relevant Australian slang words to learn. And even if you don't use them yourself, just becoming familiar with them is going to help you to understand Australian native English speakers so much more easily. Now, you might even be able to think of some others. So let me know in the comments if you've got some other ideas and suggestions. But also, if you've got some questions about how these words are regularly used, or maybe you've heard of another slang word and you're not sure about the meaning or if it's commonly used, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to jump down.
Yeah, you guys do that. Definitely go visit her channel. Like I said, link in the description, and leave her some feedback, and also leave me some feedback on what I said about Australian versus American meanings for these words, or what I interpreted them to be. Um, and if any of that was surprising to you, because there was definitely some major differences that we have, but it's nice to put some meaning to some of those that I hear occasionally by watching other creators. So anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Peace.